Go on, Clay. I have no idea.
Okay, we're back on this thing. I don't think I'm going to do much more repair in this video. I'm more just going to demonstrate, show the features off of this VCR. There are issues with it, and I'm just not feeling it in terms of fixing it up just yet. Here's something interesting though. Anyone who works on old retro computers knows that these are a ticking time bomb, so I'll be cutting this off. It's a little rechargeable NiCad battery. I'm assuming so that it can remember things like the channel programming. I doubt it's for the clock. More just to remember the settings when it gets unplugged. But yeah, once these go flat, they just leak and corrode and make a big mess. What I did do is I took this power-hungry, battery-chewing universal remote and I programmed it so that this works now. So I got my channel control. The numbers, weirdly enough, don't work. I couldn't find an exact model. This is, I think, the 486. I put 489 on there, but it's actually for a VC-486, which has very few buttons. So things like TV VTR, there's no button on the VCR, there's no button on the remote, so it's just on all the time. But all the transport controls do work on it. So if I hit play, sometimes when it first starts, you'll hear the idler motor surge up and down. Not sure what that's about, but it seems to be getting better and better, so it might just be... Yeah, there we go. Some slippage or dried grease. Picture quality's not bad. This is an old SLP recording.
Okay, folks, I'm gonna do the Pepsi Ultimate Taste Challenge to show my unbridled...
And now I can show pause, so that seems to work decently, and fast forward scan works nicely. That motor's a little loud, but what doesn't work,
with a 3-step face care routine,
just gonna hit mute, is rewind scan. So watch what happens when I hit rewind scan. The reel, take-up reel doesn't, or supply reel, it's take-up reel when it's rewinding, doesn't move. But what's interesting is if I hit just rewind, it works fine. Fast forward. So it's either not moving fast enough, or maybe at a slower speed. It's because the grease is all dried up, it's not enough for it to move over. I don't know. But rewind scan's not working. That's whatever. The big thing is in here, the linear audio doesn't work. So I traced these cables coming from the audio head, and you can see there are 2 sets, left and right, so this does have linear stereo. And it runs up to these 2 connectors here. Actually, I'm going to hit play so we can hear what it sounds like.
It was really hard.
So I'll put it on linear. And after a couple seconds, you'll start to hear the popping sound. Oh. We don't even have the popping sound anymore. Well, there was a popping sound coming from here. And the this, I believe, is where the audio goes out to the like this is the preamplification stage, and I believe switches between record and play. and then this outputs further down to eventually get sent out to the TV. So when I unplugged this, all the noise coming from here went away, and I couldn't really inject anything into here or here. I haven't tried injecting anything into here yet to see if I get any sound. Just tried some percussive maintenance in here and really couldn't find anything too wrong. I mean, it could be these potted circuit boards, it could be one of these ICs, it could be a coupling capacitor, or it could be a couple transistors that switch between play and record. I don't have the service manual or schematics, so I'm just going to leave that. Unfortunately, I'm 0 for 2 on working linear stereo VCRs.
Previous life. Look, I will explain all of this later. We're heading.
It's got good hi-fi sound, but I mean, those are a lot easier to find. Otherwise, I still haven't actually cleaned this yet. I cleaned this head just to make sure that that wasn't the problem. But I haven't cleaned the video head drum or any of the transport yet. It's actually in pretty good shape. The little clicking sound has gone away, so whatever was making a clicking sound in the head drum is gone or flung itself out. The tracking control doesn't work. Similar to that Sanyo Beta Vision VCR I was working on. These are low profile, tiny potentiometers, and they start to break. So this thing's real loose. If you look at the picture, turn it all the way to one side, all the way to the other side. And I'm just lucky enough that the tracking is good. But if I were to play something like I had some other tapes in and they had a little bit of noise on the screen, this thing is a really clear picture regardless, but this doesn't work. The sharpness control works, but it's a little flickery, so if you wiggle it, it'll come and go. Controls here, so you can hit audio dub. I tried this because this is linear audio, it doesn't work, but if I'm playing and I hit audio dub, what it should start doing is erasing the linear audio with the erase head and then injecting audio onto here. And if you want to get out of audio dub mode, you just hit play again. Oh, that was the popping. Turn this volume up. So that's the sound. It's only coming out of the left. So if I put it on left only, oh, sorry, right. It's only coming, these are backwards. So if I put on right only, oh, I can actually hear a little bit of sound. I don't know if the camera can hear that, but there's a little bit of audio. I wonder if this is just out of alignment. Like maybe that popping is coming from something else on the track. I know when I adjusted that gold star, the sound of the video track is not that popping that we're hearing. Like that sounds like a feedback loop in an amplifier. Those, component cassette decks would have the little physical record play switch, or sometimes the newer ones like Sony's would have a relay, and the contacts would get loose or dirty, and you'd get that popping sound when you're recording or sometimes playing, and it sounds just like that. But this is all solid state. There's no relays that I've been able to find yet. Anyway, that's all in the audio side. You got the switch for tape indicator, in case that's too obnoxious for you. Automatic program search system or something. This is to do with the indexing. Q has something to do with the indexing as well. I was reading about it. I have a magazine that has the VC-498C, and there's a write-up on it. I might post that in the links. And it does say, like, oh, the VC-489 that we reviewed in January's magazine, January 1985. I don't have January's magazine. It's Video Magazine, if anyone has that. I'd love to see the article written on this. Auto rewind, so when it gets to the end of the tape, it rewinds. Tape remaining, this is used to calculate how much time is remaining. So this is saying it's got over 180 minutes, which makes sense because it's playing EP on a T120, possibly T160 tape. So lots of space left. Counter, memory reset, counter length. This is confusing. All it does is just turn the counter off. It doesn't show anything else here. I don't know if length is supposed to show something else, but it just shuts it off. Record speed, it's capable of all three. What else we got here? So this, I'm going to turn this sound down and hit stop. So now we got a source and we're on tuner. What mix does is it still has the video from the tuner, but it's got the line in audio. And this switch up here, if I switch to audio, the picture goes away. So I don't know what this does. If it's on normal PCM, you got that. If I switch over, it just goes blank, no matter what this is on. So audio is something else. But you can go auxiliary for the line in mix, which is, yeah, audio aux, video tuner, or the regular line in. There's no automatic level control that you can switch on. A lot of models, like a Sanyo, the VCR 7200, the Beta Hi-Fi I've used years ago, there's a switch that you could flip it between the manual controls or the automatic level control. I don't see that on here, but interestingly enough, the article says the VC-487 does have automatic level controls. So Dolby, which you can turn on and off with or without hi-fi, so it may even put Dolby onto the hi-fi track. I mean, it's pointless, but okay. Setting your clock and your timer, all the stuff we don't care about anymore. Haven't tried insert editing yet. I'm not sure what that would do if I can insert video. Got your number pad along the front, so you can just tune in channels directly. These are just lights, so these aren't Dolby buttons or audio dub buttons. These are just the lights that indicate things. It's got a do sensor, which is right there. And yeah, it's a beast. Like, this thing is huge. Take a look at just the sheer size of it. It's not only is it very tall, but it's also very wide and very deep. This beast of a linear power supply with the massive transformer. And the vertical lock controls, I believe they're for special effects. I played with them, I couldn't get the vertical to go crazy, so either these are broken and just happen to work, or it's just got a really stable picture. TV, KTV for the tuner. Auto manual has to do with the fine tuning. So you can put in manual and you can fine tune. So if I were to go back to a channel, there we go. And if I adjust the tuning, yeah, I can play with the tuning a little bit. And I go back to auto. And that's the equivalent of AFT, automatic fine tuning. Bright dim is for the front display. And this is just programming the channels. By default, memory is off, so it'll just go through all of them. But I can go and add them, so I can say add 14, add 16, add 18, add 20. So I've just hit add on all of them. Now if I have memory, it's in memory mode. But every time I unplug it, it loses that, and I believe that's what this dead NiCad battery would store. And then, of course, there's the back end. Like a lot of older machines, this has the extra outlet, so you can plug your TV into it. Max 300 watts, so it better be a solid-state TV. Got the model information, VC-498C, the C for Canada, U would be US, and so on. This is manufactured September 1984, made in Japan. And then as we go further, this is old enough where it still has these separate VHF and UHF inputs. If you had it on cable TV mode, you'd use the VHF F connector here, your line in and line out. This is if you have the camera. Camera can remotely pause. So I think it's like a 2.5 or 3.5 millimeter jack. Channel 3/4 for the RF modulator. It's pretty standard looking back. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to record some stuff. Make sure I have an audio signal on it. Let's see. All right. So now what I'm doing is I'm recording some TV. There is sound. And I'm recording in SP mode. Let's focus here. My hand out of the way. I'm recording. Ooh. Does this mean? No, I think by default it always records in hi-fi because this light is on. So, but it should also be recording the linear audio. I'm curious if it is able to record what's going on. So we'll try that. It's been playing for a little bit, so time to switch to LP. Let that record for a little bit. Then we'll go down to EP. Now we eject and try on another machine. Wow, that recorded in linear because I had the switch off of hi-fi. The hi-fi light was on, but this is linear audio playing back, and it played well. The picture looks good. Sound sucks because it's linear audio and I'm playing it back on this modern Samsung made thing. What's interesting is, let me fast forward to LP. Oh, now it's working.
Hi, you've reached the Corey hotline. $4.95 a minute. Here are some words that rhyme with Corey. Glory.
There, it did record hi-fi. What is going on here? Why did I not have hi-fi on SP?
Glory.
Okay, tomorrow will blast your fly.
Interesting. So LP, and when I was playing this back before, this VCR was having trouble getting the tracking right. So the fact that it played it back now is surprising. With hi-fi audio is even more surprising. EP and SP, no hi-fi audio. The picture's pretty decent. Like it doesn't look great on the camera. It's on a big flat screen TV, but it's also recorded off an analog RF modulated channel, but it's actually pretty good. That's gonna need some oil. Conclusion time. It seems to play all speeds perfectly with hi-fi audio. Great picture. No tracking control because it's broken. Tuner seems to work great. As far as recording goes, I think it might need a bit of an alignment. Hi-fi only seems to play back on other machines in LP. This will play its own brand. But that Sony I have has a lot of trouble with playback of this. Like sometimes it just can't track the LP recording. Sometimes it will with hi-fi. SP and EP, no hi-fi. So, I mean, it's definitely... it does record linear audio, but it definitely would need a full sort of repair. Even like the pinch roller that I used some rubber renew on, it plays fine, but it is not in great shape, so that is not a long-standing solution. But I'm definitely keeping this. It's really cool and an awesome piece of old electronics history.